has just been sitting in those wheels all day. Slovenia moving up now. That team has got Gregor Bol, Borut Buzic, Jani Brakovic, Jura Kojan, Christian Koren and Goran Stengel. The Slovenian team in the lime green and blue colours over on the right-hand side of the picture. And now Ben King comes back to the front, apologises to Andreas Clear, and Andreas will just, in his own way, have a chat, and then Ben King will get on with doing his work. Thanks for joining us for these World Road Race Championships. 6 riders on the attack. We lost Christian Poos. We now have Iglinski and Kangat, Schudza, Roux, Lastras and Kizilowski being chased down at around about 2 minutes 39 seconds by Simon Clark, Johan van Summeren, Luca Paolini, Oliver Kaizen and Johan Ofredo. The peloton are at 3 minutes 32 seconds now. And this attack of Simon Clark has taken the pressure totally off the squad of Baden Cook, Simon Gerrans, Matthew Goss, Heinrich Hausler, Matt Heyman, Stuart O'Grady, Michael Rogers and Chris Sutton. Paolini has now taken the pressure off Benati, Gavazzi, Modolo, Oss, Quinziatas, Huzzato, Visconti and Viviani. Some good riding here by these squads. The line for the next time, this 6-man breakaway led by Iglinski. 6 laps to go that time. Still, this breakaway isn't looking too tired. Their average speed 45.211 kilometres an hour. Chris Froome of Great Britain on the front. There's a massive amount of work being done here by Great Britain and Germany to try and bring this back together. As we see the chasing group now into the finishing straight again, and they will be given 6 laps to go this time. Johan van Summeren, a great performance from him as Oliver Kaizen goes through. Luca Paolini, animated, asked for a bottle. Kaizen on the front. The tactics of the Belgians looking good. Paolini takes another drink as well, making sure that he's got as much energy as possible. 6 riders on the attack, 5 riders chasing. And the atmosphere building all the time now as people bang the boards. It's about 10 deep now in the finishing straight. And we really do have a bike race on. Leading across the line this time. At 2 minutes and 3 seconds. Things are being squeezed a little bit. The interesting point will be where the peloton are. And what situation they find themselves in terms of the time gap. The average speed, 45.211. As we look now at the peloton, this is starting to close up a little bit. With 6 laps to go. And the peloton making their way up towards the line. And now we have another attack. And this is the tactics of the Italians and the Belgians, which is basically, we ain't going to let this be controlled, and we are going to rip it up. Visconti goes on the attack now, and it's all stretched out. Visconti absolutely charging away from the line now to try and break the will of the rest of these riders. Look at this. Immediately, it's Martin Kohler of Switzerland who goes with him. Gavazzi, Gerrans is also up there. Vitti of Spain, Talinghi, Ben King. Suddenly, the Germans and the British are not represented towards the front of the group. The gap is now 2 minutes and 55 seconds from the front of the race. This is going to be a pretty thrilling finish to this World Championships. The Italians know and the Belgians know that if they drag this to a finish, then the Norwegians and the British and the Germans will be very, very happy. So they're not going to let it happen. And look at this, Simon Gerrans is absolutely flying on the front of this group. The rider who currently rides for Team Sky and will now be moving to Green Edge. All lined out now. As they look like they're bringing this back together, so the chase is certainly on. Looks like this leading group, you can see the pace is considerably slower than the chasing group, who are absolutely now firing on all cylinders. As Tim said when he came in earlier, it just gets faster and faster and faster. And now more teams are represented at the front as the Italians go on the attack again. Bettini using his way of riding, which was always an attacking style to try and rip this race up, but Britain now bring this race back together. So does Gerrans, moves to the right-hand side of the road, the right-hand side of the picture, the left-hand side of the road, and his current Team Sky teammates don't even give him a glance. Well, that was a thrilling few moments. This is the chasing group who are still in the gap. Van Summeren on the front, working extremely hard now. Paolini, Alfredo, Clark and Kaizen. Kaizen is giving this as much as he possibly can. Great Britain on the front again with Chris Froome. This guy has ridden on the front for hours and given this as much as he possibly can to try and bring this title home for Mark Cavendish. Ben King is up there for the United States of America. but this is the chasing group, who are now at 1 minute 44 seconds as they go through that time split. So the state of play for you all watching these World Road Race Championships. Tangat, Schutzer, Roux, Lastras, Iglinski and Kieselowski. 1 minute 44 seconds ahead of Simon Clark, Olivia Kaizen, Luca Paolini, Johan van Sommeren and Johan Alfredo. The peloton now are chasing this one down, and they're going to be around about the 2 minute mark by the looks of things. 2 minutes 24 seconds is the advantage, and it is a train led by Great Britain. No longer we have Andreas Clear and Bert Grabsch up there. The peloton are bringing this back now. It is, 1:44 from the leading group to the chasers, 2:24, so 40 seconds now, the difference between the chasing group and the peloton. It is closing all the time. One rider is down, and that is sitting on the road is Belkadri of France. That looks pretty sore. He's gone under the barriers, but he's moving around and he'll get back up. It's going to take a little bit of time for these riders to get organised. Oh, Frank Schleck has been held up as well, as has, I think, Tyler Farrar. Oh, there's more riders here. Farrar is down. And there's a couple more riders who are in the hedge. So, Frank Schleck, Tyler Farrar. Who else is down here? We'll double check. I'm not sure that Gilbert isn't, but we'll have a look. But let's have a little look in a second. I think Gilbert is there. Gilbert is there. Let's just check here. No, it isn't. It isn't Gilbert. It is. It looked like it was Gilbert who was trying to get his bike sorted out. Well, there's a few riders down. It was Van Avermaet who had crashed. Well, they've obviously there's obviously been a touch of wheels. I mean, Frank Schleck is still standing at the side of the road. There's one rider in the hedge. Michael Barry is also there. And it's just people get more and more tired. Looks like Frank Schleck's finished. He shakes his head. Frank Schleck's World Championships is over. Haven't mentioned him all day, apart from one puncture, but Schleck now says, no, I'm not continuing, that's it. Michael Barry also is out, so is Belkadri. And we're hearing that the defending champion Hushoff is also out of the back. So we'll catch up on things. Well, I just want to welcome our Canadian viewers on Rogers Sportsnet. A warm welcome to the World Championships. I'll just update you on exactly what's been going on for the benefit of you and everybody else who's watching. We have a breakaway group of riders in this World Championship. Anthony Roux of France, Tanel Kanget of Estonia, Pablo Lastras of Spain, Oleg Shudza of the Ukraine, Maxim Iglinski of Kazakhstan and Robert Kizilowski of Croatia. They have a 1 minute and 2 second advantage on Johan van Summeren of Belgium, Luca Paolini of Italy, Simon Clark of Australia, Olivia Kaizen of Belgium and Johan Alfredo of France. The peloton are being led and have been being led by Germany and France and one rider from the United States, Ben King, for probably about the last 2 hours. The gap to them is around about now 2 minutes 20 seconds. In fact, now it's 1 minute 49. And we've just had a crash which has caused Tyler Farrar, Frank Schleck, Greg Van Avermaet, Michael Barry, Bilal Kadri to be standing at the side of the road. Thor Hushoff apparently also has been held up by this crash as well, but we'll see whether he gets back on. But the tactics are interesting. The Belgians want to break this race up, and that's why Van Summeren and Kaizen are in here. So do the Italians, and Great Britain and Germany want it to be a sprint. And this is the big group of riders who have been left behind. And it contains Tony Martin, is also in here. So Tony Martin is in this group. We'll have a little look through. There are many, many riders out the back, and Great Britain aren't going to wait for them. Neither are Germany, although Martin is in here. But their game really is about John Degenkolb. And these guys are 2 minutes and 58 seconds down. Just looking to see who else is in this group. It's a big bunch of riders who have been tailed off by that crash in one of the narrow bits of road. Frank Schleck is now back on his bike, but I'm not sure he'll ever get back on. This is an important part of this race. This is the leading group, have been on the attack for most of the day today, if you have only just joined us. Originally, Poos of Luxembourg was also in here, but he was dropped. The main animator in that leading group was Shudza of the Ukraine. He was desperate to get on the attack early doors, and that's what he did. Their maximum advantage went out to 8 minutes and 5 seconds, and now slowly but surely they're being reeled in. But this chasing group is not making the headway that they've made a fair amount of headway, but actually their gap between them and the chasers, this peloton, is not considerable enough. It hasn't really grown. Ben King is doing a lot of work on the front, and the rest of the Great Britain team lined up behind, as are Australia, who are ready to pounce as soon as any junction is made. But a great performance from Simon Clark of Australia. It's a much smaller peloton now, and these guys are not going to wait. Can see Nick Noynes over there on the left-hand side, who's glancing around and realises that there are certainly a lot less riders here. Hearing on Radio Tour that Thor Hushoff's group is at 50 seconds behind this peloton. Will he ever get back on, is the question. I don't know why Ben King is now still working, because I think he probably doesn't even realise that Tyler Farrar is out of the back. So there is a group off the back here of the bunch, the main peloton at 1 minute 49. Just looking my way through the groups to just to update you and see what is going on. I think there's a gap back to the next group on the road, which is about 50 seconds. There's a group at 2 minutes 51, another minute behind the group led by Great Britain, and in that group are the following riders. Let's just run through some of the names. Louis Leon Sanchez is definitely in there. Julian Dean of New Zealand is in that group. Greg Henderson, Andreas Clear, who's doing a lot of the work earlier on. Also in that group is Milokovic. Iran is in there too. So is Svein Tuft and Bernard Eisel. Then there's a group at 3 minutes with Jack Bauer. Thor Hushoff is 3 minutes and 10 seconds down as things stand. So there is a bit of carnage now in this group. This race is proving to be very interesting. As Rob Hale said to us earlier on today, these roads are narrow and they look on camera. And we went around them in the car earlier on, and they definitely are. There is no doubt at all about it. And some of these corners do cause a problem, so you have to ride near the front. And I don't know, Ben King probably doesn't realise that Tyler Farrar is not in this group. The leading group now has been caught by the group of Simon Clark. So now we have this leading group of 11 riders. We'll see what the time check is as they make their way up here this time with 5 laps to go in the World Championships. The tactics that are being played out have been very, very interesting. Now we get the counter-attacks happening, and it's the Netherlands who are trying to go on the attack now at the front. They'd be probably happy with a springboard kind of breakaway group. They don't want things to play into the hands of Great Britain with Mark Cavendish. 5 laps to go. The gap is short. It's only about a minute. The first rider across the line that time was the Dutch rider. Peter Wiening goes on the attack, and then Great Britain all lined out with the Australians also in there, and it's a much smaller peloton who are trying to bring back this leading group of riders. Also in there is, at the back is Wouter Poels of the Netherlands. So it's a group now of around about 122 riders. So we've got 11 riders in a leading group and 111 riders in the peloton. The rest are out the back of the race now. Well, we'll have a look now to see the next group on the road, and I'll try and, as they go under the commentary box, I'll pick some of the riders out, but they are a long way down. Jack Bauer is in that group for New Zealand. Thor Hushoff is also in that group now, and they must be around about a minute behind the main peloton. There's a lot of chasing going on. It is 1:04 to the main peloton. And 2 minutes to the group containing Hushoff. I don't think Tyler Farrar is in that group at all. which means the tactics of the Americans now are a bit interesting. There is the group with the New Zealander Jack Bauer in it, and they are dropping away. They're not closing this gap at all. 2 minutes and over 2.5 minutes, and it looks to me like the chances of Hushoff defending his world title have disappeared in a crash. Kurt Arzel-Arvidsson sitting on the back of the peloton. He is in this group. Matt Goss we could see just in front of him, not too far. And Arvidsson has been looking around to see whether there's anyone there. The question for me is whether Tyler Ferrara is in this group, because the Americans are doing a massive amount of work. And they'll be very happy, the Americans, the British, to let an American rider sit on the front and do this amount of work. He doesn't have to. There's Quinziato of Italy. Quinziato riding alongside the car with Paolo Bettini in it. And back to the front with Paolini. Looking strong is Paolini, powerful rider, good in a breakaway. Lastras, who's been there all day. Stage winner in the Grand Tours. Johan van Someren, a winner of Paris-Roubaix, a great domestique. Rides for Garmin Cervelo, used to ride for the Vitamin Lotto. He's a man you definitely want with you if you're trying to keep things going like this. The original breakaway is Glinsky there of Kazakhstan in the turquoise colours. Kizilowski in the red and white of Croatia. And the man at the back from Australia, Simon Clark. Great Britain all on the front with a sandwich filling of the rider from the United States of America there in the luminous yellow helmet and shades. And now some more conversations going on. And it's Arvidsson who's having a chat to the British riders. And of course he rides for Team Sky, so he knows many of them. But they ain't going to let Thor Hushoff come back. There is no possibility that they're going to allow the defending champion to come back to them. They've got the race how they want it. This time round, we're going to get 4 laps to go in the World Championship. We are 4.5 hours of racing covered, and the average speed still over 45 kilometres an hour. It's a thrilling race. The crowd are building an incredible atmosphere. It is pretty special here in Rudersdal, 20 kilometres north of Copenhagen. Jeremy Hunt, and now another attack, and this is this time Anders Lund of Denmark, who goes on the attack after 207.2 kilometres. Anders Lund, of course, a very, very good bike rider from Denmark, who, as I think, just thinking through his palmarès, won the under-23 Liège-Bastogne-Liège in the past. And now the counter-attacks are starting to happen, and the Belgians are up there in numbers. This is the chasing group with Jack Bauer in it. Julian Dean, Thor Hushoff, Tony Martin, Christian Knies, all in this group of riders. At the front for Denmark, the Irishman now goes across. Looked to me like it might be Dan Martin who's sneaked in here as well. So suddenly this race is looking a little bit different. Just to update you then, the gap to the leading group is 1:30. The gap then to the Hushoff group is 2:25. They're not giving up. They are closing it a teeny little bit. 55 seconds. And now we have another group on the move. And they just don't want to let the British team sit on the front like this. So just to recap for you, the state of play on the road, 11 leaders in this World Championship, tracked by the peloton at 1:30 and a group containing Thor Hushoff, the defending champion, at 2:25. They were held up by a crash that's taken out Frank Schleck. But now the chasing group being led by Baden Cook of Australia, and the Aussies have got 2 riders in here. Gerrans is also in here. Gerrans he's been trying to get away all day. Well, maybe not all day, that might be an over-exaggeration. He's been trying to get away for 3 laps for sure. It's a kind of lumpy, kind of jump-away course for Gerrans. If he can get in a move, he could certainly do something at the finish. Morkov sitting on the back, now another reaction. And certainly a big move here from Dan Martin of Ireland. Dan Martin moves across to the right-hand side, and Great Britain tried to tow this back. Nick Noyens of Belgium now goes to the front. What a group this is. Noyens, Cook, Dan Martin, Simon Gerrans. It is proving to be a rapid race, and it is just about who's going to hold on and have the legs. Great Britain towing this back with Jeremy Hunt on the front, but there are just splits all over the place. Looks like David Miller now on the front as they all track the wheels. There are gaps everywhere. It's such a rapid pace, and the attacks are going every single time over the top of the climb, which kind of says that Mark Cavendish is going to have some pretty supreme legs to be able to get there. Great Britain tow this back, and the man on the front in the green and white, Dan Martin, who of course decided to become an Irish rider because he had Irish nationality, and of course could have ridden for Great Britain. Before the British performance plan happened, Martin wanted to ride for Great Britain. He had a little bit of a disagreement, and they really said they weren't going to invest in the road at that period of time, and Dan Martin said, well, if that's how you're going to be, I'll go and ride for Ireland. That's what he's done, and now he's dishing it out to the Brits as they go on the attack, but he knows them all so well. His dad, Neil Martin, one of the top professional bike riders in Great Britain for many, many years. And Dan Martin's mum is Stephen Roach's sister. So he is the cousin of Nicholas Roach as well. And now him and Nicholas ride together in the Irish squad with Matt Bramier. And now Great Britain go back to the front and continue with the work they've been doing. The question is whether this chasing group is going to get back. Chris Froome is desperately trying to hold on at the back. Radio Tour just telling me the gap is 56 seconds now. Stephen Cummings still on the front. Jeremy Hunt in second place. They haven't half-time trialled this today. David Miller there. 11 riders in the leading group. The rest of these teams have had to do no work whatsoever. They've done absolutely no work on the front. They haven't had to. Great Britain has put themselves in this position, which is, we're going to ride on the front and you can all sit there, because our plan is that we are going to take Mark Cavendish to the finish. $212.5 kilometres of this World Championship have been completed now. The total race distance, 266. 4 laps of 14 kilometres to be completed. And Britain have only lost one rider, and that's Chris Froome, who is sitting on the back of this group, trying somehow to recover. This is the group that contains Torhushoff, and it looks like this race is going to be over for them. I don't want to write them off too early, but you look at the time, the peloton went through at 57 seconds. Tony Martin sitting in second place, and they're going to come through now, and the gap is going to be 2:22. So it looks like about 2 minutes 25 seconds is the, or 1 minute 25 is the deficit, and it's going out. Great Britain all on the front, and now I think the Americans have realised that Tyler Farrar isn't in there. It's an interesting race, this one, as we run through the group at 2:22. Some big names in there. Sweetsoff also is in that group with Hushoff. And now the gap drops to 57 seconds, and Great Britain are pretty happy with that. But the problem they've got is letting that group behind them come back. They need to keep the pressure on. Is being led pretty much all the time by Great Britain. They are 1 minute and 2 seconds behind. And then Torhushoff is in a group at 1 minute and 43. Now we get another attack from Switzerland with Albacini. Albacini, who will also ride for Green Edge next year, goes on the attack over the top of this climb and makes a massive move. That was a big attack. They just want to soften things up. Constant hammer blows to the British, German teams. Thomas Lofquist also in that move, as is Michael Rogers, but then the rest of the group led by Great Britain. Interestingly, Lofquist of Team Sky as well. So Lofquist going over the top of this climb and putting in a massive turn. Lofquist in the blue and yellow, followed by the man who made the move, Albacini, tracking him. One Belgian rider. We've also got a load of other nationalities represented in this group. We can just see the camera will show us who else is in there. Rui Costa of Portugal, Bjorn Lukemans and Michael Rogers with Nick Noyens in this group. Most of the British team, Team Sky, but here Lofquist and Rogers also of Team Sky. Rogers looks around, he looks pretty confident. And it's closing up, 42 seconds now, the deficit. What a race this is. It's been non-stop from the start. You've had the breakaway group and you've just had things happening constantly. Well, thanks to all of you for watching us here on the World Road Race Championships. I'm going to count you all the way through now to the conclusion of this race. And we'll see who brings home the title. Which country? This is the chasing group with Löfqvist on the left-hand side in the blue and yellow of Sweden. Michael Rogers looking pretty good in here for Australia. Bearing in mind Simon Clark, who currently rides for Astana, moving to Green Edge, is in that leading group. So Rogers can use the remote control. He doesn't have to do 1 ounce of work. A lot of riders now have retired as well. Just run through a few of them for you. Bert Grabsch, Andrew Talansky. Puzzi was in the early breakaway. Frank Schleck has also gone. Leonardo Duque is retired, as has Stefan Denefil, Michael Barry, and Roman Kreuziger, of course, didn't start. Quite a few riders now have dropped out of this World Championship. The riders that are left, Löfqvist looking pretty strong here. The last 2 laps have been run off at 49 kilometers an hour and 46, nearly 46.5 kilometers an hour. This is the chasing group. Chasing group with Albacini, Rui Costa, and Noyens. Noyens is a danger man in here. There's no doubt about it. This is exactly what he would want. Number 7 at the back there. So Great Britain tow the peloton back to this group. It's all been about riding like a team time trial. The Dutch have done very little today. Lars Boom is in here, so is Johnny Hugeland. Now we get another attack for Denmark, and the crowd go particularly mad this time. Lars back on the attack now. Just pedalling away, and on the front of the bunch is David Miller. Lars back, a teammate, of course, of Mark Cavendish, goes on the attack now as we look at this leading group being led by the Australian Simon Clark. They're looking a bit ragged now, and Simon Clark's decided, right, we've got to get a little bit more pace in here. And Great Britain won't want to catch this too early. Lars back looks around and sees a little bit of an advantage for him, for Denmark, as he is urged on by the crowd at the side of the road, seeing the red and white colours of the Dane. Perfect moment for Denmark. And still Great Britain sit on the front, and they have done for the entire race. They let the gap go out to 8 minutes and 5 seconds, and then ever since they have been on the front. Sitting on the back of the group here, number 42, Stephen Cummings of Great Britain. done a massive amount of work, and he'll just see if he can recover and see if he can help out again. But Lars back, an impressive performance, looking strong, tapping out of rhythm. Now we get an attack at the front from the leading group, and it is Kieselowski and the Frenchman going with him. Still Alfredo persists with this attack, the Frenchman. Sitting alongside me to the left-hand side, Jackie Durand and Jean-Francois Bernard, who are enjoying this one. He goes past some barriers that have been, that are almost glistening the red, white and blue, as we see now an attack from Ukraine, and this is the man who started the original move. This is Schutzer. What a day this man's having. Alfredo hanging on at the front, clicking his way through the gears, and everyone who says this circuit is flat, these riders will be telling you otherwise. Rolling roads, sun is out, hot day, tiring, wearing down circuit, where you just have to just try and hold on to the wheel, because it's just been so quick. The fastest lap so far is the 13th lap. The opening lap of 8:12, followed by 8:18. The 13th lap was 17 minutes and 8 seconds. The 14th lap was 18 minutes and 7 seconds. That was the second fastest lap of the World Road Race Championships. Just shows you the difference. They're just turning the screw all the time as they go up another rise. And for the first time, Great Britain are no longer there. Norway come to the front. They've obviously decided to maybe ride for Bosenhagen if he's there. Edvald Bosenhagen is in here, so they've decided now to play another card. And they're all over the place here as Alfredo goes up the road and is still away. Here come the peloton. Lars back is not far behind them, behind this chasing group here.